Hey everybody, it's Greg and it's another edition of Unbreakable Podcast. And it is Wednesday, March 27th, and we're one day away from opening day, baseball. And I can't wait. I've been looking forward to this day for a long, long time. You have too, I'm sure. Oh my God, the weather sucks in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's gloomy, rainy. I don't even talk about it. So we won't. A couple days before we had a jam-packed show today, so I want to talk really fast. My friend Bud is with me. You can't see him, maybe you will in a minute. But the backbone of the show, Bud the Stud, as they call him, is here. So maybe Katie will make a special guest appearance later in the show. We're lucky. Um, it is among the other dates today. Well, before I get into that, I got to talk about Baltimore. It's still on my mind. The bridge collapse. What a sad thing. It's going to take years to rebuild. They're still, the wreckage is still there. They're still investigating. Uh, what hits me is that this could have happened to anybody, really, to me or you. Um, it's sad because it's not something like scientific or science fiction or it's something real. It's something that could have happened to you or me, that to anybody. We could have been unlucky enough to be crossing that bridge at that time of the night. Think about it. People coming home from work, people going to work on their night shift, people just out and about that time of the night. Uh, who knows why? But you can't imagine when they were starting to cross that bridge that they would think the thought never crossed their mind, I'm sure, that this was the end of my life. Everything that happened before, when I was a kid, school, birthdays, Christmases, everything would end just like that. Everything. And who would have ever thought that the bridge would collapse and people would end up in the water? You know, it's just such a sad thing that and it makes you think, it makes you really think that, and we talk about politics, when something like that happens, it doesn't matter what your politics, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or independent, it doesn't matter whether you're black or white or Latino or Oriental, it doesn't matter what gender you are, it doesn't matter what religion you are, whether you have a disability or not, it doesn't matter, because it can happen to any one of us. And we're just blessed that we're here, you know? And so we have to feel for those people and pray for them, for the victims and their families. And we do, we send prayers out there. And shame on the politicians who are uh, trying to profit off of this tragedy by saying it's Biden's fault, or by saying Buttigieg's fault, or to blame it on some sort of conspiracy. You know, it was a tragic accident, and it could happen to anyone. So that's the way we need to look at it. It's really sad. Today's day is, well, there's a couple different days, but average Joe, it's a Joe, National Joe Day, National Joe Day. And I'm going to celebrate myself because Joseph is my middle name. So yay, Greg. And uh, think of our Joes in our Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, right? Me, everything goes back to sports. So baseball, Joe DiMaggio, right? Think of the famous Joes. Football, Joe Montana, right? Uh, think of you know the Dallas Cowboys, the evil Dallas Cowboys, Joe, Joe, Joe Mama, Dallas Cowboys. Oh, I hate those Cowboys. Dallas sucks. Speaking of sucking, uh, How about that Donald Trump? Now his latest grift is he's on social media trying to sell Bibles. Yes, yep, don't, yep, I kid you not. It sounds unbelievable, but this guy will do anything. He's Holy Week, 4 days from Easter, he's selling Bibles. And he's there holding it like this. Get your Bibles, get your truck Bible. Yeah, get them while they're hot. Get them while they're hot. It's just unbelievable. Did we ever think we would see today when Satan himself would be holding the Bible and trying to sell it? I mean, there you go. I've always said Trump is Satan. That's just my personal opinion. Okay. But, I can, I can say for sure, after seeing this guy try to sell Bibles, like, come on, that he is Lucifer. And it's a wonder that he is holding the Bible straight upside, not upside down like he was that other time. I'm just waiting for the time and they show Trump walking Bibles, and I'm waiting for him to burst into flames. Just combustion. Just, Anyway, all right. Bud is crying, said he wants snacks. So here you go. We have it. We have our snacks, and we're going to give him some because he deserves it. There you go, big guy. Today is our classic TV show of the week. Now, I love doing this every Wednesday. We've done the Beverly Hillbillies. That was our first. We've done the Addams Family, the Brady Bunch, All in the Family. It's a lot of fun. And I think I can get this all into one part. So now you'll remember this. You know the show. There was a theme song. There weren't words. It was a theme song melody of this show. But I'm gonna give you a catchphrase that was on this show almost every episode, and you'll know what the show is when I tell you. You ready? Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson. Yes, it's Lost in Space. The original Lost in Space is our classic TV show of the week. Not the remake, not the crappy remake that they made around 2000, not the crappy movie that they tried to put out there. The original Lost in Space. It came out in 1965. It lasted, but excuse yourself, Derek. Jesus. Let me give it. Came out in 65, 3 seasons. Now, this is an iconic TV show. It was only on for 3 seasons. First episode was September 15th, 1965. John Williams, the guy who did the Star Wars theme. Da 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 da. John Williams was the guy who did the theme song for Lost in Space. And Irwin Allen was the producer. And Irwin Allen also produced and created other shows like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. The series Lost in Space was based on the book Swiss Family Robinson, which was published back in 1912. And that was about a family that got marooned on a deserted island. And so they just made it into a space thing. Here's the premise of the show. The Family Robinson, the show was based in 1997. So that is like 32 years from what it was actually in. 1997, in the show was much more advanced than we are now. So, we're really lagging behind. 1997, they wanted to do a project, the United States, NASA. They wanted to send this family. They would freeze them and send them. There was an Earth-like planet that they discovered in the Alpha Centauri galaxy. And they wanted to send a family there to see if the family could live. The project was scheduled to be 98 years. 98 years, the family would live on this Earth-like planet. And if they're not all dead, they would bring them back. That was the mission. But what happened is and got this interloper, this guy named Dr. Smith, who got on board, and they never identified the country that he was working for. The only thing we know was this snivelly, weasel-like Dr. Smith. No relation to me, by the way. No, but no relation to you either. Dr. Smith was a foreign spy, and he was out to sabotage the whole mission. And he did. He got in after the Robinsons were frozen, put to sleep there, so they would wake up after they arrived at the new planet. Dr. Smith somehow got into Jupiter 2. Their spacecraft was called Jupiter 2, and was rearranged all the connections and everything, so he threw everything offline. The spaceship did not go to Alpha Centauri. It went somewhere in the galaxy. It was hit by an asteroid, and it ended up. That's where they lost in space. They were thrown off track. They didn't know where the hell they were, and they were just drifting around. And that's the series. They went from planet to planet to planet, trying to either get back to Earth or get to this Earth-like planet where they were supposed to go. So that's the premise. And there was a mom and a dad and 3 kids and a robot. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. There were 83 episodes of this bad movie. 83 episodes. The first season was in black and white, and it was on CBS. CBS was the network. And the kids were Will, Penny, and Judy. Those were the kids, and the mom and dad. The dad was played. Oh, by the way, all the family were scientists, engineers. That's why they were picked to go on this mission. Like the dad was a big time physicist guy. He was played by Guy Williams. I don't know if you remember Guy Williams or not. Guy Williams played Zorro in not in Marcus Zorro, Disney, The Wonderful World of Disney back in the 50s. Every week or every other week, they would have different episodes on The Wonderful World of Disney. One was Zorro, and Guy Williams played Zorro. And I remember watching him when I was a kid. I loved Zorro. I loved it. I wanted to be Zorro when I grew up. I still want to be Zorro. The Z. And so Guy Williams played that. And June Lockhart, Lassie's mom, played the mother in Lost in Space. June Lockhart. Her dad was an actor, Gene Lockhart, by the way. And then along with the family, they had this other guy, a major called Donald West. He went along for the ride. I don't know, he was some other scientist or something. He was, I wouldn't even call him a chaperone. He was on board for the mission, Don, which was kind of weird, Don, but why he's there. But then apparently Don and Penny, the oldest daughter, got into this romantic thing there where they were kind of fooling around, and it became a thing. They got married or something. I don't know. And then, of course, they had Dr. Smith. Now, Dr. Smith's first name was Zachary Smith, and he was played by an actor named Jonathan Harris. And Jupiter 2 was the spacecraft. And the name of the planet that they were supposed to land on was the hell with it. I'm not going to read it. PRIPB Uranus, not my Venus. Anyway, whatever. Guy Williams, Drew Lockhart, we know about them. The robot. Yeah, I love the robot. they actually, it was a B9 model robot. It was played, the voice was, of course, by a real guy, but the robot was really kind of an actual robot. In fact, the Lost in Space set cost over $300,000 to build. Now, back in the 60s, it was a lot of money. In fact, the Lost in Space set was the most expensive set design on television at that time. So they spared no expense. That's one of the reasons, though, why the show ended. Not only was it getting poor ratings by the third season, but CBS was not willing to bankroll the show anymore. They wanted to cut corners, and rather than do that, they decided to axe the show. So let's see. Yes, Voyager. Yes. So here's the thing: when they were getting really, CBS was getting kind of tight with their money back in the mid to late 60s, and they were cutting back on stuff. What happened was Irwin Allen, since he was the creator of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. A lot of the creatures that were on Lost in Space, a lot of the costumes were also used on Lost in Space. It was sort of a hand-me-down thing, you know? So here's the thing about Lost in Space. The first season, hi, bud. It was a very serious science fiction show. And I mean, it was very serious. It wasn't too much humor. They really talked about these people, this family was stranded in space, how to get them back, how could they get back on their own? And it was very serious. In the next two seasons, it got more humorous and it got more campy, where the ridiculous, it got kind of ridiculous. Like the monsters were ridiculous. Every planet they went to, there was a monster or something. And it even got to one episode where they had a talking carrot. This one planet was inhabited by evil vegetables. I kid you not. And Don was talking about fighting a talking carrot. How ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons why the guy who played Don West and Guy Williams started to get very disgruntled with Lost in Space by the third season, because they felt that Lost in Space just lost it, you know, that they were too campy, they were doing too much childish stuff, and they preferred the serious science fiction angle to it. I'll tell you why they did that. Because ABC programmed Batman. Remember Batman with Adam West? Oh, I love Batman. Batman was a half an hour show. Lost in Space was an hour show. Well, what ABC did was they programmed Batman at the same time, same bat channel, against Lost in Space. Well, Batman was pulling the ratings. Lost in Space, in their best season, which was season 1, only got into the 30s in ratings. Now, that was okay ratings at the time, but every season it was on, it was dropping. And Batman was really popular. So what did they do? Lost in Space, the writers said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We'll fight fire with fire. Batman wants to be campy, we'll be campy. That's why Lost in Space started bringing in monsters that were carrots, talking carrots. Can you imagine that? Oh, Jesus. There was a certain how should I say, rapport between Dr. Smith and the robot. They kind of hated each other. Yeah, the robot would say, warning, will Robin say, warning. And Dr. Smith would say, shut up, you sniveling, you kid of Well, a lot of this, a lot of these insults, uh, Jonathan Harris himself thought of. He had lived a lot of stuff because he thought his character was too boring in season one. You know, his character originally was there to screw up things, but Jonathan Harris decided to have a little fun with his character. So Dr. Smith soon became this pathetic, whining little little prissy girl kind of you know, the kind of guy you want to just smack. And it's like he would he would be whining and whining and whining, and he would have this back and forth with the robot, you know, and they would argue with each other. And so, from what I understand, uh, Harris did this on his own. He did a lot of ad lib. The ratings went up a little bit. People liked him. They liked it, and so they kept it in the show. And that added to the campiness of Lost in Space. So so you know, by season three, um, actually, you know who was a fan of the show, by what I understand, JFK's kid, John JFK Jr. Big fan of Lost in Space. And of course, this was after JFK was killed. The little boy, he liked the Lost in Space. He was a big fan, big fan. So that's how it ended. Basically, they canceled the show that in '68. They warned. CBS was really strange. They didn't give the cast a warning. Apparently, a lot of that did this with other shows back then. So the cast were thinking, oh, we're going to be picked up for a fourth season. That's cool. And we got a job. So what CBS never informed them until the very last minute that Lost in Space had to cancel. And again, the two reasons they gave was because money. They didn't want to, they thought it was too expensive, all the sets and all the costumes. And the ratings didn't justify bringing it back again. Well, you know, Guy Williams, he got disgusted. He retired after Lost in Space, and he moved to Venezuela. Who knew, right? Hi, bud. Jude Lockhart still remained around. She would show up on reunion shows, you know, and so she was pretty cool. And Billy Bubby, that's his name. That's who played Will Robinson. He did a lot of reunion shows, and you know, Billy Bubby in the show played Will Robinson, like this 10-year-old genius, you know. And actually, Will Robinson was a scientist himself. Who knew? 10 years old. And he was an expert in geology. So whatever planet they would land on, Will Robinson automatically knew what the rocks were, said it's safe, we could land here, we're not going to die from these rocks. And of course, having the robot there who could tell you anything in an instant. By the way, this robot had extra human strength. He could pick up boulders, which were really fake boulders, and throw them places, you know, and he could do anything he wanted to do. I think if you even pressed a couple buttons, he could probably get a ham sandwich coming out of his belly. I don't know what the heck. Like a vending machine. But where are you? He's a nugget. Anyway, I like Lost in Space. I watched it. I got tired of Batman, and I watched Lost in Space. And it got weird at the end with the talking carrots and all the monsters, but it was fun. It was a fun show. And it was sort of like Gilligan's Island. Think about it that way. Like Gilligan's Island, you always tuned in. You were hoping that one day Gilligan's Island, the castaways would make it back to civilization, right? Well, that was the same way with Lost in Space. You were hoping one day that they would bring them back. But then again, if they did that, there'd be no show. You'd have to call it Found in Space or something. Anyway, so that's our classic TV classic of the week. Oh, so what you think, Bud? I sure really sick today. I gotta get the hell out of here. He's gone. I don't know where he is. Just poof, he just vanished. All right, everybody, have a good day today. Celebrate your Joes. If you have any Joes in the family, celebrate them. It's their day. It's their day. And we're getting ready for baseball season starting tomorrow. Hey, they may be rained out here in Philadelphia, but I'm ready. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to go. I already got my games, but I'm ready to roll. Go Phillies, huh? And so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace and love. Bud says goodbye. I don't know where he is. He left. He couldn't take it anymore. Could you blame him? All right, everybody. Peace and love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in.